Hello, dear comrades. I won't hide it. I'll admit it. I was born and raised on the ideas of developed socialism and communism. I attended parades and labor brigades, of course, not by my own choice. Ha ha ha, ho ho, he. Let's recall something from a former country with 400 years of history. 10 things from socialism that lasted forever. Nostalgia and truth. Socialism was a system that deserves criticism for many reasons, but it was also an era in which certain objects, buildings, and products were made with a persistence and durability that modern production rarely even aims for. Not because the engineers of that time were more talented, nor because the materials were magical, but because the logic of production was fundamentally different. There was no pressure to replace something after 2 years. There was no incentive for it to wear out quickly. And there was no marketing convincing you that what you owned was already outdated. Today, decades after the end of that system, people increasingly look back, not out of blind nostalgia, but because of a real question. Why did my grandmother's socks last 30 years? While the ones from the mall tore after the third wash? The answer is complex, uncomfortable, and deeply connected to how the modern economy works. Here are 10 specific things from the socialist era that were designed to last, and why that philosophy has almost completely disappeared. 1. Panel apartment blocks. Unpretentious architecture with unexpected durability. Panel buildings are perhaps the most visible legacy of socialism. Massive, gray, faceless, they still make up a significant portion of Bulgaria's housing stock. In Sofia alone, over 60% of homes are in buildings constructed before 1989, many of them panel blocks. Paradoxically, these buildings were not designed to last forever. On the contrary, they were a quick solution to the housing crisis. And yet, 50 or 60 years later, most are still standing. Not because they are beautiful or comfortable, but because the concrete used was real and dense, because the reinforcement had proper thickness, because the builder had no incentive to cut corners for profit. Modern construction follows a completely different logic. The investor wants maximum profit per square meter, and the buyer wants a low price. The result is visible thin walls, poor sound insulation, facades that start deteriorating after 5 years. No one is individually to blame. The system is structured so that durability simply isn't economically advantageous. An interesting fact: many engineers who worked in both eras note that socialist-era concrete mixtures contained a higher percentage of cement compared to aggregate than modern standards require. Quite literally, they made it stronger because there was no reason not to. 2. Canned foods. A science of durability that fed an entire country. Canned foods were a symbol of socialist cuisine. They were produced with a clear goal: to last long regardless of taste preferences. Shelf life was not a marketing trick, but a real technological guarantee. Products didn't contain modern stabilizers. Everything relied on proper sterilization, sealing, and concentration. Tomato paste, for example, was far thicker and more concentrated than today's versions, which often contain more water and thickeners. Today, production has changed. Raw materials are more expensive than water, so dilution is cheaper. Consumers are used to milder taste. Regulations differ. Short shelf life encourages more frequent purchases. The socialist jar that sat untouched in the cellar for years was no accident. It was the result of a system focused on real use and durability, not shelf turnover. 3. Textiles and shoes materials made to be worn. Socialist sneakers have become an internet meme. For good reason. Those canvas shoes with rubber soles really did last for years. Not stylish, not modern, but durable. This phenomenon has a name: planned obsolescence. Modern branded sneakers are designed with a life cycle, not because of technological limits, but because if they lasted 10 years, no one would buy new ones after 2. Studies show a measurable decline in durability compared to the 80s and 90s. The same applies to textiles. Cotton fabrics were denser, with more threads per square centimeter. Shirts could be washed dozens of times without fading, not because of superior innovation, but because there was no incentive to economize. Today, fast fashion has turned durability into an anomaly. Buy, wear, discard. The difference isn't in craftsmanship, it's in economic logic. 4. Household appliances repaired, not discarded. Socialist Bulgaria had a whole network of repair workshops. TVs, washing machines, radios, everything could be fixed, and people did fix them. Appliances had standardized parts, accessible IUs, and logical assembly. A technician with a screwdriver and multimeter could diagnose and repair them. Modern devices are intentionally difficult to repair: glued batteries, proprietary screws, locked software. The EU's Right to Repair Directive 2023 is recognition that the issue lies not in the machines but in the system. The paradox: in a society of scarcity, things were repaired. In a society of abundance, it's cheaper to throw them away. Durability is not a technical problem, it's an economic choice. 5. Public spaces and furniture built for collective use: park benches, school desks, factory chairs, designed to withstand daily use by hundreds for decades. Solid oak tables still stand in community centers. Steel chairs from the 1960s outlast modern office furniture. Today, contracts go to the lowest bidder. Quality is secondary. Frequent replacement is economically rational for producers, but wasteful for society. When something belonged to everyone, it was protected. Today's anonymous public spaces lack that sense of ownership. 6. The pepper roaster, a Bulgarian invention. No one improved the chushkopek, is perhaps the only device no one has ever said could be better. Invented in 1974, it remains unchanged, a simple cylinder with a heating element. Efficient, clean, perfect. Even decades later, it's still sold and used. Not because we lack technology, but because improvement is unnecessary. Modern kitchen appliances often suffer from the opposite: too many features, too little reliability. The Chushkopik just roasts peppers and does it perfectly. 7. Sausages and meat products. When standards meant something, products followed strict state standards, BDS. Recipes were fixed and consistent nationwide. There were limitations, small variety, occasional shortages, but quality, where defined, was maintained. Additives like soy fillers and starch were absent, not out of idealism, but because they weren't allowed. Today, abundance hides declining quality. Hundreds of brands, but little guarantee of real content. 8. Yogurt. When 72-hour shelf life meant quality, socialist yogurt lasted 72 hours. Then it spoiled. That wasn't a flaw. It meant the product was alive. Real fermentation, no preservatives. True Lactobacillus bulgaricus. Today's yogurt lasts weeks but has lost its living character. Durability increased at the expense of authenticity. 9. Chocolate and sweets. A taste memory doesn't invent. Old brands evoke strong memories, but not just emotionally. Their composition was objectively different. Chocolate contained real cocoa butter. Today it's often replaced with cheaper fats. Studies show only a small fraction of products meet true chocolate standards. Many traditional sweets also had cultural roles, now largely forgotten. 10. Bread. Simple, heavy. Real bread was basic: flour, water, yeast, salt. Nothing more. Today's bread contains additives to simulate freshness and uniformity. It stays soft longer, but artificially so. The result: neutral taste, less character. Why did all this change? The answer isn't conspiratorial. It's systemic. In a market economy, growth requires either more customers or more frequent purchases. Durable products serve only the first. Short-lived products serve both. Planned economies didn't operate this way. They aimed to meet quotas, not maximize profit. Of course, that system had major flaws: inefficiency, shortages, lack of innovation. This is not idealization, it's explanation. Nostalgia for quality or for security. Nostalgia is less about the past itself and more about predictability. People don't miss cues, they miss certainty. This isn't nostalgia for the regime, but for a production philosophy that happened to create durable goods. Lessons for the future. Socialism left more than gray buildings. It left examples of products without built-in expiration. Durability is a matter of intention. Modern economies aren't incapable of producing lasting goods. They're just not incentivized to. But when incentives change, through regulation, consumer demand, or new business models, quality returns. We already see it in niche markets, handmade goods, small producers, sustainable design. Perhaps the real lesson is not about the past, but the future. We can make things that last. We just have to decide that it's worth it.